Hey guys, Kiwi here. Huge warning of spoilers for Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul up to Season 6, Episode 7. In this video, I'll be breaking down and discussing the final moments of Episode 607 in regards to Howard meeting Lalo. Like the video if you end up enjoying it, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter for more Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad updates. If you really enjoy what I do here, maybe even consider checking out my Patreon, or give back to the channel by clicking on the super thanks button under the video. With that being said, let's jump into the breakdown. Okay, so my intro videos have a spoiler warning, my initial spiel has a spoiler warning, and I'm now giving you your third and final spoiler warning, okay? Spoiler talk starts now. First off, I titled the video Howard Meets Lalo as another way to kinda be vague in regards to spoilers, considering I've done many blank character meets blank character videos in the past. Saul meets Lalo, Saul meets Hank, Kim meets Lalo, Lalo meets Werner's wife, Jimmy meets Wendy, etc, etc. But for those of you that have seen episode 607, you should know what this video is about. In the video, I'll be discussing and breaking down the final moments of episode 607, including Howard's final dialogue to Jimmy and Kim, along with Howard's untimely demise moments after meeting Lalo. So usually I like to discuss things chronologically, but we gotta rip the band-aid off first before jumping into the in-depth analysis. This video is probably gonna be all over the place. Lalo killing Howard is one of the most, if not the most devastating death out of the entire Breaking Bad Better Call Saul universe. Yes, Hank and Nacho were horrible too, but Nacho was in the game and Hank was kinda adjacent to the game due to trying to catch Heisenberg the whole show. No, neither of them deserve to die. They're both still, really great moments of TV show history, but they did accept the terms and service, so to speak, while purposely getting involved in their own respective situations. Howard, on the other hand, completely innocent. He had absolutely nothing to do with the cartel side of the show. He just got caught up in the crossfire in what is the most perfect example of wrong place, wrong time. It's so messed up that Jimmy and Kim had not one, but two unexpected visitors to their apartment that night, with each one getting worse and worse. The most tragic thing is that Jimmy and Kim kept telling Howard to leave even before Lalo showed up.
Sorry, but you need to stop this now and you need to go home.
Now, yes, I will admit that once Lalo did show up, Howard's fate was sadly sealed, even though Jimmy and Kim kept trying to tell him to leave, but there were a few solid moments, maybe even a minute or two, of them telling Howard to leave before Lalo showed up, where Howard probably could have left and gotten out alive before Lalo arrived. The fact that Lalo's trying to keep his plans secret, on top of the fact that he's wanted in Albuquerque and America in general for skipping bail on a murder charge, all leads to no witnesses. It is so messed up that Lalo just brutally kills Howard with no hesitation right in front of Jimmy and Kim. Howard was so important to the show and its story, the viewers, and Jimmy and Kim's characters, but Lalo didn't know that. It's crazy how important Howard was to us, but to Lalo he was just some random guy at the wrong place at the wrong time. This also kind of reminds me of Todd killing Andrea in front of Jesse in Breaking Bad. Now yeah, it's not a wrong place, wrong time situation. Todd specifically went there to kill Andrea, someone who wasn't in the game but was unfortunately linked to someone who was. I think that Todd killing Andrea in front of Jesse, he did it for a similar reason to Lalo killing Howard in front of Jimmy and Kim, to show that they aren't messing around. Now with killing Howard in front of them, they know that he's not playing games and that he's willing to kill both Jimmy and Kim if he needs to or wants to. The last time that Lalo confronted them in their apartment in episode 509, he left without any blood on his hands, but the tables have turned and that won't be happening again. Also, during Howard's death, the way that he cracked his head on the coffee table while his body was falling to the ground, it just had to be an intentional reference to the way that Chuck hit his head in the photocopy store while fainting back in season 2. That connection instantly flashed in my head while watching this scene, as I'm sure it probably did with many of you, and probably Jimmy as well. It's so messed up that Jimmy has both indirectly and directly caused both the deaths of Chuck and Howard due to his actions. Yes, it is a huge domino effect along with some crossfire, but you can't help but feel that Jimmy is at fault for both of them dying. Now, none of the HHM founders are alive anymore, and it's kind of all thanks to Jimmy, and Kim, let's not forget her too. This reminds me of Chuck's final conversation with Jimmy, where Chuck told Jimmy that he has good intentions, but ruins the lives of everyone around him, and that he should just embrace it.
In the end, you're going to hurt everyone around you. You can't help it, so stop apologizing and accept it. Embrace it.
Truer words have never been spoken, and it's really messed up to think about. I am genuinely scared for Kim's life now, even though I kinda hate her and Jimmy after episode 607, which I'll get more into in just a moment and in future videos. Some of you may have seen this coming, but I did not, especially in the moment. It wasn't totally random though. When Lalo was initially going to break into Gus's laundry to find the Superlab location, he realized that the phones were tapped to Hector's old folks' home, and then he Jimmy called back to leave Gus false info on his plans. Lalo's original plan was to go to the laundry, but he decided against it due to realizing that Gus would be waiting for him, calling him a clever chicken man. This is why Lalo took his anger out on his foldable chair. I believe that even though Lalo wasn't going to go to the laundry anymore, he still planted fake plans for Gus to hear, implying that he still was. This caused Gus and Mike to take their men off of other locations and redirect them towards Gus's laundry and his house. This means that Gus and Mike are anticipating Lalo to attack the laundry in Gus's home. There are many blind spots left open for Lalo to explore, such as going back and speaking to Jimmy and Kim. I love the small detail foreshadowing Lalo's new plans in regards to Lalo looking at the cockroach in the sewers, reminding him of Jimmy. If you remember in episode 508 when Kim spoke to Lalo in jail, Lalo called Jimmy a cockroach.
Your man, he's like the cucaracha, you know?
This was a subtle but brilliant method of writing and foreshadowing Lalo's change of plans to return to Kim's apartment instead of attacking Gus. I love whenever Better Call Saul lets us know what a character is thinking by them looking at a certain object, such as Kim looking at her bottle stopper. So we predicted for over a year now that Howard would die, and it actually happened. And mind you, we were predicting that Howard would die before that photo came out showing blood in Patrick Fabian's hair. Now, most of the predictions included Howard committing suicide, which turned out to be false, although there is a new running theory that Jimmy and Kim will somehow set up Howard's death as a suicide, which we'll get more into in just a moment while discussing the possible aftermath of all of this. Now, another possibility for Howard's death was that while tracking Jimmy and Kim with his PI, either Howard or his PI would find a criminal connection linking Jimmy and Kim to the cartel, leading them to get caught in the crossfire while trying to uncover more. Episode 607 of course revealed that Howard's PI was actually a con man hired by Jimmy, and he was in on it the whole time. The way that Jimmy and Kim played Howard in regards to the Sandpiper mediation and the Sandpiper case as a whole is just perfectly horrible, and it makes me really despise Jimmy and Kim. I'll be discussing the mediator con more in depth in a future video this week, but for now let's discuss Howard confronting Jimmy and Kim at Kim's apartment. I always hoped that Howard would survive the show, but I always had a gut feeling he would die. I guess always trust your gut, because god dang if Howard didn't get the most tragic death out of the entire universe. I also like how Howard twisting the soda can at HHM earlier in the episode could have been foreshadowing to Lalo twisting on his silencer on his gun to kill Howard. Also, the candlelight flickering and burning out in the apartment must have been symbolic to Howard's life running out, along with Chuck's shadow overlooking the entire episode from the candlelight, maybe referencing the lantern on top of that huge mural of Chuck at HHM and referencing the whole soda of it all. And then obviously Howard bringing a drink to Jimmy and Kim the way that he and Chuck would drink as well. I love how Howard confronted Jimmy and Kim, but then again, now I obviously wish that he didn't, due to the fact that he'd still be alive if he wasn't there. I will say that Patrick Fabian played his final episode to perfection, from accusing the mediator, to realizing he was being played and trying to convince Cliff he wasn't crazy, to confronting Jimmy and Kim at their apartment, all the way to his death scene. Just wow, what an amazing performance combined with brilliant writing. I love how the writers made Howard's character instantly realize what was going on, but sadly know that there was nothing he could do about it. It would have been frustrating if Howard didn't or couldn't figure out what was going on, so I'm glad that he did. There's a certain point of having viewers know more than the characters, where if that becomes too much of a disconnect, it can become annoying. Sometimes it's nice knowing more than the characters, but after a while the writers have to catch the characters up to speed with the audience for a satisfying conclusion, otherwise it can become frustrating. The creators have acknowledged this multiple times during interviews and podcasts, so I love how they cut the BS and had Howard realize what Jimmy and Kim were doing to him. This of course led Howard to abruptly confront them at their apartment with all cards out on the table. Jimmy and Kim know that Howard has figured everything out, but he can't do anything about it. About halfway through the confrontation, Jimmy and Kim seemingly start to drop the innocent act and imply that Howard will be fine and land on his feet and that he should just leave. But they haven't considered the downward spiral his life has had over the past few years, from his work life to his home life and marriage. I just love how Howard finally got to speak his mind to them and lay all cards out on the table, from them hating him due to taking Chuck's side too much or keeping Kim locked up in doc review, even realizing that Jimmy and Kim get off on screwing him over, which makes them want to screw themselves, and we know that's true considering the many times that Jimmy and Kim have become sexual after a con, even shown in this episode with the mediation. I also really like the way that Howard brings them a drink referencing the fact that Chuck and him would always have a celebratory drink after a career victory, which we did see in earlier seasons, except this time it wasn't Howard celebrating. He brought the drinks for Jimmy and Kim to celebrate successfully screwing him over. As shocking as Howard's death was, I'm glad that he was finally able to figure everything out by the end and even confront Jimmy and Kim about it. Every actor in this final scene did an amazing job. Howard confronting Jimmy and Kim and then being terrified when he saw Lalo's gun, Lalo killing Howard without flinching, and also Jimmy and Kim's horror from the moment that they noticed Lalo standing behind Howard almost as a grim reaper, all the way to their shocking reaction when Howard was murdered. Jimmy's face trying to comprehend the fact that Lalo was still alive and standing right in front of him was just brilliant acting, just true horror and confusion. And then their reaction to seeing Howard murdered felt so real with their shocked screams and all. Lalo smiling at them after just killing Howard in front of them is the perfect embodiment of his character, a crazy murderer with a charismatic smile. I saw a comment on my last video saying that the episode started out as chicanery and then ended as Ozydimas. They combined the best parts from each show to create this brilliant yet horrifying episode. So what happens next now that Howard is dead, laying on the floor of Kim's apartment with Lalo looming over them? Did Mike still have men watching over Jimmy and Kim, or did he really pull the men watching them to add extra protection for Gus? If Mike did still have men watching over Jimmy and Kim, I'd assume that he would have called one of them to warn them of Lalo arriving at their apartments, similar to the way that Mike called Jimmy in episode 509 when Lalo confronted them for the first time. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that Jimmy and Kim are on their own with Lalo this time, which just doubles down the intensity considering Lalo is ready to kill, and he just proved it. Could Kim possibly die in episode 608 during this second Lalo confrontation? I think it is very possible that Lalo doesn't leave the apartment with Kim alive, but let me know what you think. It might be a little bit too much to have two major deaths so close together, but then again, it would just be so much more shocking. Also, what will be done about Howard's body? I doubt that Lalo will care much about it. He'll probably just leave the body for them to clean up. But do Jimmy and Kim have the ability to clean up a body and make it disappear, or even somehow move the body back to Howard's guest home and stage it as a suicide? I've seen people tweeting at me saying that not only does the bullet wound through Howard's head imply that it wasn't a suicide, but that they also won't be able to completely get rid of Howard's DNA in their apartment in regards to forensics. I'm no professional on either of these topics, so again, let me know what you think. My initial thought is that if both Jimmy and Kim somehow get out of this Lalo confrontation alive, they will call Mike and have his men somehow clean it up. If Mike gets involved in the cleanup, he could stage it as a suicide, or will he just make Howard's body disappear, effectively making Howard a missing person that will never be found? I also wonder what Mike will think considering that he literally just pulled men off of them, and then that's where Lalo went. Now it's one thing to wonder what Mike will think, but also, what the heck will Gus think? Now, is it possible that they could frame Howard for taking a legitimate trip to Belize and just imply that he went missing there and never returned? This could be the origins of Saul Goodman always mentioning giving someone a trip to Belize as code for killing them. Also, Mike helping clean up Howard's crime scene for Jimmy and Kim could be referencing Mike's first ever appearance in Breaking Bad, helping clean up Jane's death for Jesse. Not only that, but we know Mike has had issues throughout the entirety of Better Call Saul with people not in the game being killed due to crossfire. So this could be the final instance that pushes Mike into his no half measure mentality that we know him for in Breaking Bad. The show creators really made you care about Howard and feel bad for him as much as possible before killing him off. To those of you that thought this season was moving way too slow, have your opinions changed? Everyone was hoping the payoff would be worth it, and I think that it tragically is. Wow, just wow, I can't even comprehend what I watched last night. There's still a lot to discuss in regards to this final scene in 607. How will the aftermath of Howard's murder be handled? Kim get out of this situation alive? What does Lalo even truly want with them? How will Lalo use them to get the proof he needs against Gus? Will Jimmy or Kim call Mike to help with the cleanup? And will Jimmy and Kim play both sides, seemingly helping Lalo at first, but then maybe even setting him up for Mike to kill Lalo? I'll be doing more discussion videos in the near future for all these questions as I start to reach more conclusions and think of more theories, but let me know what you all think in the comments below. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, and if you're new to the channel or just haven't it already, subscribe and hit that bell notification to stay updated on when I post new content on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. Check out my Patreon or give a super thanks to help support the channel financially. If you got a few spare bucks lying around, it'd mean a lot, and also thanks to those who have already. But most importantly, I thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out!
you two are soulless.